will be tuned in. For those of you who don't know that you should be tuned in here to the Breathing Doctor. Breathing.com is where you want to go for all of your breathing and oxygen needs. You can be a turbo oxygenitis, or you can be a champion breather. It's the state of art of breathing that all of us need to have in order to live a long and healthy life. You can sing better. You can talk better. You can breathe better. You can have better lungs, right?
Live better.
Live. That's what I meant. Live better.
You can. Breath is life.
Everything. Yes.
Breath is life. Excellent.
The question is why, when, which, how. Now you get into specifics. People say, well, they're barely breathing. When you get somebody that's on meds and they're alive, but they might not even know it.
Right.
You know, so what's your vitality level? How do you feel you're breathing? How do you give a sense of the feedback of it moment to moment, so where you can maintain it, so you can use it? So that's really what breathing development's about, being able to get a sense of the feeling sense of it, the function sense of it, the why, the how, the when, the which. You know, so each person has their own path, but there are some fundamentals to breathing, basic fundamentals. You know, and so what do? That's what we teach. We just teach the fundamentals. You want to sing like Luther Vandross? Well, you got some practicing to do. You know,
not just your notes either. Please understand that you can breathe through the song, but if you're breathing on the wrong notes, it will not sound like Luther.
And you've also got to have a lot of his mechanics, a lot of his, his resonances, his body parts. So it's really, but usually really good singers like Sammy Davis could mimic a lot of other singers. Just because that's what he did.
Right.
And so, but he came out with his own sound. And he came out with his own ability to articulate and make sound from this small body with this big sound and this incredible articulation. He was so good at that. So those are the things you learn, but basically you want to start with basic fundamentals, which is the foundation. You want to start with the foundation of breathing. Now, people talk about the core, all right? Well, the people that develop core quite often these days are creating tension around the core. They're not creating the ability to let go. If you were studying classical voice, for instance, the more you let go, which is counterintuitive, the stronger and bigger your voice can get.
Absolutely. So is it the control comes from the breathing or from the ability to control the sound?
It comes more from the breathing, because when you have the foundation, for instance, if you look at a billows, in the fireplace billows where you, all right, if your billows is like this,
not
you
clearly
don't have
expanding,
sustain or control. But if your billows is like this, then you have a lot of ability to sustain, and while you sustain, you can begin to play with the notes. You can begin to manage them, massage them.
Got it.
So. What? Oh, we're going. Okay.
No, you're fine.
You were going someplace. So, and that's what the diaphragm strengthener helps you do. The diaphragm strengthener basically was invented by a tuba player. Takes a lot of breath.
See that one?
Okay. And this is different. This is different from breathing resistance trainers, because it basically creates strength both in the inhale and the exhale.
Okay.
All right, and then you work with it.
And that's inhaling.
And the idea is to be able to keep that ping pong ball suspended throughout a maximum amount of exhale and a maximum amount of inhale. Because then what you're doing is you're exercising the diaphragm in its full excursion. If you just went like this, your billows is only doing this.
Gotcha.
But if you're going, so I can get up to about 13 seconds on an inhale on this thing. Just keep blowing up, just keep it up, just, like. And the more you can do that, the more the implication is your diaphragm excursion is higher.
Got it.
You get it?
Got it.
Yes.
I just had the vision of you getting a brain freeze. I don't know.
A what?
A brain freeze, like drinking a Slurpee or an Icy. And
You drink it really fast.
yeah, just inhale and then all of a sudden, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm focused.
I was actually envisioning.
I gotta Google that one.
I was envisioning an accordion, because my brother played the accordion
Okay.
when he was growing up or whatever, and it has that same concept with the air going in, going
Exactly.
out, and the more you do it, the larger, the bigger, the fuller the sound.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Perfect analogy. And so basically, the more you can play with it, you know. And so, you know, some people go into like Sinatra used to go swim length underneath the swimming pool. He'd go underwater swim, you know, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Although this is better.
Okay.
This is better
Gotcha.
because you can measure it, and there's ways that you can measure improvement with it. So the longer you can sustain one direction,
Got it.
the more the implication is that you have more volume to work with.
Okay. Now, you have some other tricks of the
Toys.
trade and tools here.
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
strap.
This is a strap.
I used to call this the friendly python.
Oh.
Okay.
And
But that was kind of bad for business, so I changed it. It's just
who did you
a
use?
strap.
Who did you
basically-
use this on?
Yeah, you wrap it
know
around
what?
your chest, and you tighten it and breathe in and resistance. And what it does is, it releases
Gotcha.
the tension in your chest. It opens up the rib cage. So rib cage.
So it looks
gets
like a
bigger.
seatbelt.
It is
but-
seatbelt material.
Oh, it is a
except
seatbelt
it's-
material.
Except it's 12 feet long.
Okay. And
So what you do is you wrap it around your chest, okay, and then you bring it around back and front again.
It's the first
Okay.
version of a
Okay.
bra. What? That's how bras started.
Okay.
Right?
clearly
and
not.
then you'd exhale, all the breath out, okay, and then you wrap around the
Do I need to tighten it?
you're gonna in a minute, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you gotta exhale, okay, and then you lock the strap in place, okay. Now you
Okay.
breathe in against the tension. Breathe in, and then let go. Okay, then you release the strap all the way out. Okay, now breathe in again. So the idea is, what it does is, it releases the tension in your rib cage because you got flexors and
I really didn't
extensors.
feel that. You should try it.
No, well,
You said put it around his neck, right?
put it. right. You can. It's a little tricky to do, you know, in the moment, like we're going to try to do right now.
Exactly. We have to work up to it.
Yeah.
This is only a first date, so.
Come here often.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know about this. My mama told me about women like you.
Mama said there'd be girls like this.
Trying to strap me up and stuff.
All right.
I'm not used
So-
to me.
Oh, and then you said
Up
rotate.
above his nipples. If he doesn't have nipples, we can't do this.
Exactly. Because anyone with nipples can be milked.
Shut up.
What? That's what they said in that movie.
No.
They did.
We're not talking about that movie. Right there?
Keep going
Is
out.
that
Bring
good?
it back around towards the
Okay.
front.
Right here.
Now we have a video that shows people how to do this.
Okay.
You know, so
Yes,
it's in
well,
there.
So,
But-
and then.
and if you try to do this with something
where-
else besides this strap, you're making a mistake.
Okay. And like that, right?
Okay. Yeah, except for, now first you want to exhale. Exhale. Okay, now
Blow all the air
tighten as
out.
much as you can.
Tight me. Tight me.
Well, okay, just do the best you can. Okay, tighten as much as you can.
I don't want to hurt him. You know
Okay, now
he's
breathe
sensitive.
against the tension. Breathe
Hold
in.
on, wait, let me cross over because he did that.
Ain't a bow tie.
Okay, now go.
Okay, now breathe in, and then release. Okay, good. Now you pull the strap away. Okay, now you breathe in. Now, if you've done it right, you're going to feel more breath. And this wasn't done right, but maybe.
I feel more breath though.
Oh, you do feel more breath.
Throw me out here,
Yeah.
wrong.
Okay, and you notice how he coughed. Okay, now let's stop and talk about that because it's a big deal. Okay, what happens with your lungs is they build up debris. You know, because if you shallow breathe, if your diaphragm is not coming up and down high enough, the bottom of your lungs develop debris. They collect debris.
Like the bottom of an ocean.
which is guck, which is bacteria, which is mucus, etc. They develop what I call debris.
Okay.
All right. So then what happens is when you breathe deeper, the diaphragm comes up and it squishes the sponge of your lungs. Think of your lungs as squishing the sponge, just like a kitchen sponge. Think of squishing the sponge, and then what happens is, what do you want to do when you want to clean a sponge? You put it under water, you squish, release, squish, release, squish, release, right? Okay? And the guck comes out of the lungs, right? I mean, out of the sponge. Lungs are the same way. So what we just did was we deepened your exhale. Your diaphragm rised, and you squeezed a little bit of guck into your bronchioles. They didn't like that, and you coughed.
And you do that quite often.
So quite often, coughing is productive. Coughing can be good, depending on what you just did.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, so anyway, like you said, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But and the point is that you squeeze the sponge, because people shallow breathe. So let's say that the diaphragm, the bellows, is only going this much. It's not moving this much. It's not pushing the bottom of the lungs up and squeezing the sponge, and it just shallow breathes for a long time. Most people are shallow breathers.
Right.
So what happens is they develop a lot of debris. They collect a lot of debris there.
Gotcha.
And they enter COPD, emphysema, pneumonia, lung diseases, because it becomes the harbor of bacteria, negative bacteria.
Right.
And so we squeeze the lungs. So that's why singers like Tony Bennett Tony Bennett is up, in his 80s. He's still singing, He's a bel canto trained singer, So singers usually last longer. Remember George Burns? He was kind of a talk singer, made it to 100,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like Kirk Franklin.
Singing is very good now, but then the issue is it this intense, loud, screaming song? No, I don't think you're going to last.
Right.
It's good. It kind of wants to be a bit of a gentle song, and or maybe praise and worship can work, So anyway, singing is very good for the soul, very good for health. The question is, hey, mama, screaming. I don't think people are going to last that long doing that kind of song.
Right. So, Mike, is it safe to say that if there is a choir or a praise team that's out and they wanted to hire you to do a workshop, would you be available?
Absolutely, love it.
To do that. So, to all of our choir directors, all of our ministers of music, and it's funny because even though they sound really, really well, at the end they're exhausted. But I think that if we actually get the breathing right, there's something left over.
Incredible insight.
At the end.
Yeah. People that work with me, they come in and say, well, we're going to spend 4 hours together. I'll be fatigued. No, you will not. You will be energized when you feel.
Right, absolutely.
You will feel good. You can, it's like you get trained right, like an opera singer who's trained right can do 2 entire operas in a day. 1 day and 2 entire. If he's trained right, the voice will still be good and he'll be fine.
Right.
So the real issue is the foundation and the breathing, and the using the whole breath properly. Your foundation. You build your foundation, it's rock solid foundation. Okay, you can go and go and go and go and go.
The Energizer Bunny.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike, did you know, I don't know if I had ever mentioned this to you or not, but I was actually in a scuba diving incident back in 2013, and both of my lungs collapsed. They were inoperable. I lost my voice. Whatever they did damaged vocal cords, and
it's hard to speak when you can't breathe.
Else. Right. I was in a coma for some time and had a 3% chance of survival.
This is incredible.
I know. God is good. However, one of the greatest things is after the recovery, and the 8th day, the day of new beginnings, I was released from the hospital. So literally after being considered nothing more than a donor, and literally they called it a savage case. Just salvage whatever you can, because they didn't think that I would make it. After recovery, I couldn't speak. I could only write, and it was very, very low whisper. However, I had deep vein thrombosis, so they were not going to do surgery on my vocal cords until I got rid of the DVT because of the blood thinners that I was on. Nevertheless, every night when I would shower, I would use the steam and I would whisper or sing. and literally nothing would come out, but I just kept doing it. And I remember Miss Mack, if you're out there, thank you so much. Miss Mack was my high school music chorus teacher and my performance ensemble teacher. I love Miss McNair. You showed me how to breathe. So while singing, literally while singing. But within maybe a week or two, I had my voice back. And I think that not only was it the divine healing of God, but the whole synchronization of the steam helped. It was very soothing.
And
right along with in the bathroom,
in the shower,
right, the acoustics, and then breathing through the sound, like literally pushing air out until my vocal cords cooperated. So
beautiful.
Here I am today. It is good. It's good. So literally, I'm a very strong advocate for breathing. You know, when singing, breathing, when speaking, and breathing just actually helps you calm down. It helps manage anxiety when doing public speakings and your nerves.
That depends on the breathing.
And everything.
Some people,
right, if you're doing it properly.
Some people, they're huff and puff, they're huff and puff, get this, get the energy, do it that, well, that can work for a lot of people, but there are people that are like borderline asthmatics, that just going to go crazy doing that.
But they are also called preachers, and that's just what they do. And I just want you to know that I'm feeling real good. And I'm like, can you not pass out in the middle of your service?
Yeah, there was one breather that said, I have a dream.
What was that? No.
What is
so on his Fitbit, now follow the dots for your breathing. Inhale and exhale. This is
a breathing apparatus
on his
that's
Fitbit.
tied to my Fitbit that allows me to relax. So when you want to relax, it's for 2 minutes, and you can. It says be still, slow deep breaths.
Yeah.
Be still.
And then it allows you to actually breathe. So when you were talking about breathing through fear and anxiety and whatever it is that you're dealing with, breathing allows that to happen.
My son and I were in front of the Santa Cruz roller coaster when he was 10 years old. And I said, so 6 stories tall. It's not the biggest one, but you're not going to go to sleep on that thing. So I says, come on, let's do it. He says, I don't know about that. So I finally talked him into it. I got him on the thing. And I said, look, I'm just to tell you one thing. I'm going to be very loud about it, but I'm not screaming at you. I'm just to remind you to breathe. So we got on the thing, and you go up 6 stories, and then you go straight down 6 stories, and you're going through a blackout tunnel.
Wow.
And he comes out the other side. He's
frozen.
So I'm yelling, breathe, 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 like that. It's a 3-minute ride. So we end up, I get him up, he can't, I got to carry him off he can't walk, he's too wobbly. So I says, you want to do it again? He says, I don't think so. Long story short, the 3rd ride, we went in the front car with no hands.
Because he knew how to breathe.
Because he breathed through terror.
Wow.
Yeah.
I figured that was about $10,000 worth of therapy.
That was
Pretty much.
Yeah, breathe through terror.
So you breathe through. So fear plus the breath equals excitement.
Absolutely. And when you watch movies and people come from, something traumatic happens, there's a shooting, the first thing they say is sit down, breathe, just breathe.
Yeah.
That's it. So truly breathing through. Is that why parents always stop and breathe and count to 10 before they beat their kids? So it's not as bad.
It's controlled. Yes.
Right. And then when you get spanked as a kid, breathe.
So there are people that see what we've done here with the kid is we've accelerated that process. So you get more of a feel for it. When you tell somebody to breathe, they could be breathing incorrectly. They could be breathing partially correctly, okay? And if you're breathing partially correctly and you breathe more, it could just make things worse. Or it could mean you maybe a little get a feeling of good, but it's not going to last. It's going to build on what was negative before that, okay? So the strapping technique, the diaphragm strengthener, the exercises in the breathing kit will help people improve faster. The key is learning breathing before you develop a lot of other habits that get in the way. Okay? Now, this is something I use on one-on-one with people, and people can use it on themselves. It's called rapid release therapy.
Okay.
And it's a major high-intensity vibration.
Don't.
Who came up with the name?
Don't. A man.
Rapid release therapy.
Yeah, it's a massage tool.
Okay.
And it will go into the middle of your ribs. It'll go in your shoulders. And it vibrates. It's very intense. Okay. You can do it on yourself, or I do it with clients in particular. Use in particular parts of the body. So,
Got it.
and you can mention my name. You can get a discount. You call them up in order and mention my name.
Breathing.com. For those listeners that are out there,
Mike White.
On your website, you can take a free breathing test. Correct.
Absolutely.
How many times can you take that test?
You can take it as often as you want. It's free. The key is you're going to get a long list of answers to your tests. Okay, there's certain skills on the breathing on that test. How good is your breathing? And those skills correlate with diagnosed illnesses. The better the skill, the fewer reported diagnosed illnesses.
Got it.
The worse the skill, the more reported diagnosed illnesses. There's a direct correlation between them.
Got it. Okay, so for all of our listeners out there, go to breathing.com, BREATHING.com, and take the free breathing test. Also, if you mention Radio 10, you will get a discount on purchasing products and materials from breathing.com. But everyone, I demand that you go to breathing.com and at a minimum, take the free breathing test. Find out what you're doing. It may even help you lower medical bills and expenses.
Absolutely.
Because you'll be able to self-diagnose.
That also gives you a free 50-minute consult with me.
And a free 50-minute consult. So do this for yourself. Don't be reactive, be proactive. Log in to breathing.com. We are sitting here today with Mike White, the breathing doctor himself, is in the house. And he has shared his tunes with us today. He has shared some definite knowledge. Breathing through trauma will allow it to, what'd you say that was? What was that term? Breathe through the trauma.
Let's say any negative emotion you can breathe through properly will lose its grip on, long enough and properly will lose its grip on you.
Yes.
That's my mantra.
And I'm going to hold on to that. I am going to hold on to that. So when people say, are you listening to me? I'm just going to keep breathing. I'll just keep breathing. Thank you so much for joining us, Mike. We are always excited when you come into the studio and share we are part of edutainment. Education and entertainment. We want to make sure that we get through to our listeners and to our viewers as well in an entertaining way where it doesn't bore them, and God knows you never bore. So thank you so much for coming and joining us here.
Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely.
Can we get to turn off the lights and use the rapid release now?
No,
it's rapid release therapy.
We don't.
What?
It's so hard to say goodbye. That's it.
To yesterday. Family, you're tuned in to the Profit and Growth Hour here on WDRB Media,
the voice of the community.
Happy trails to you. Remember Roy Rogers?
Yes. Till we meet again.
That's right.
Happy trails to you.
Keep smiling.